How's it going, people? Welcome to this premiere episode of the Fan Zone right here on Top 6 Fan TV. A new show bringing in the fans, bringing the fans' voice. And as you can see, we have a couple, more than a couple, three fans here with me. Edwin there from Chelsea, John from Man United, and Elifazi, the Arsenal man. And we have quite a bit to catch up with, and they're looking like they're burning with quite a bit of enthusiasm. I know they will, share their hearts and souls regarding the outcome of their club's results over the weekend and in the Champions League. And we will get straight into it right after this. Fantastic, fantastic. Welcome to the show, Edwin. Your first time on Top 6 Fan TV. Please say a good hello to the virtual audience looking at you for the first time.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity, Mr. Matthew. I'm glad to be on Fan Zone for the first time. I'm a huge Chelsea fan, for those who don't know. Of course, with an outstanding result over the weekend. We'll dive into that a bit later. But all in all, I'm very happy to be on the show this evening.
Fantastic. And then Elifazi, Arsenal fan, you can say hi to the virtual audience.
Yes, we're the Gunners. Come on, you Gunners. The fans from Wales, which Arsenal, the Gunners. I'm talking with a lot of vegan valor because I know my team is in a very, very soft spot. I understand, Edwin, you lack confidence right now. You're suffering locally, but we are with you. We are with you. This is Elifaz, very strong Arsenal fan. I'm very happy to be here on the fans show. And this is not my first time to be here with Matthew, but yeah.
Fantastic. And of course, the Man United man, John Magero, otherwise known as Senior John, whose team doesn't seem to be doing very well. John, you're most welcome. Say hi to the virtual crowd. You're on mute, John. Let's see.
You're on mute.
Hey, John, you're on mute.
Yeah, he has not. He has done muted. He has muted again. Yeah, he's back now.
Such is the fate of Manu.
No,
Yes,
Android
John, we can
problems
hear
anyway.
you now.
Yeah, this is John Magero, very strong United fan and always will be. Well, we are not doing very well, but I think we are only, I think, 8 points below Arsenal. So we are not very far. It's a few games. We can get there. Yeah. So, this is my first time here, and I'm very happy to be here.
John, you are most welcome. You sound like a man in pain, and we will start with Manchester United's results, kicking it off with the 1-0 weekend result against Fulham, where it seems Man United are increasingly relying on Fergie time all the time. Fergie time is supposed to be, a one-off here and there. But these days, we're looking at Fergie time. And, that result, Bruno Fernandes there with the goal. And I'm sure that is all it took to get the points for United. But what happened after that sort of recovery run, enter the Champions League, drama away at FC Copenhagen yesterday, 4-3 the final result. United coming in from Hoyland, and Bruno Fernandes a penalty, but 4 goals coming in from FC Copenhagen, red card for Marcus Rashford. John Magero, or Senior John as they call you, what happened to Man United, and does that increase the pressure on Ten Hag?
I think the pressure is there, yes, but when we go back to the Fulham game, I think we started off well because McTominay had a goal in there which was ruled out for offside. I think that was also kind of harsh for him because he was actually not offside. Actually, Garnacho that passed him, the ball wasn't offside, but then there was, I think it's called a subjected offside from Harry Maguire. And later on, luckily, in the 90s, I think in the 90th minute, Fernandes was able to score a very nice goal after like putting off about 2 defenders. Yeah. When we go to the Champions League game, we tried. We played very well. Yes. We had our first goal in the 3rd minute. Then in the 28th minute, I guess. Then the problem, I think, started when Rashford was sent off, which I think is harsh also, because Rashford did not intend to step the Copenhagen, the other teammates' foot, because even when you looked at him, he wasn't like focused on the defender. He was trying to protect his ball. You get so. I think the VAR is somehow not doing the right job, but we cannot blame our failure on the VAR. Yeah,
that is what I want to hear. And on that note, I want to bring in Edwin, Chelsea man. Do you agree with his assessment, or is it doom for Man United?
I think I agree with him when he says they don't have to blame VAR for their losses or for their underperformances. I think Manu, they have brilliant players. There's no doubt about that. But I think it's about Ten Hag choices maybe because I was listening to some sports show over the weekend, and I think that the grievances tend to be between Ten Hag himself and the players. Because if you look at Ten Hag's body language when he's talking to journalists after the match, he doesn't mention players' names. He doesn't talk. He's not so much involved in the players' side. That's what I'm talking about. So a coach to the players. And I think as a coach, you have to be more than a coach. You have to be a friend, a brother, something like that, for you to encourage those players to play good football on the pitch. But then kudos to, of course, Fernandes, a brilliant player who bailed them out in the 90th minute to give them the 3 points that they got over the weekend. I think Man U can do better, and the only thing they can do is qualify for Champions League, but they are not title contenders to me.
Hey, you have really taken them out of the title. First, Erik ten Hag out or Erik ten Hag in? You see hope for Man United in the second half of the season?
In my point of view, actually, whatever's going on at Manchester United, as it started today, it is becoming a trend. Actually, it's now eating up into the whole hierarchy because we've seen big players talk about it from Ibrahimovic, then the Sanchez, then Ronaldo, and then even the coaches like Rafa Rangnick came. Like Manchester United needs an open heart surgery. Like it's really, really, really too bad out there. And then when it goes down to the players, I can't blame the coach and the players actually right now. I can't. It's up there. It's up there in the mud, honestly. And then when Sonia talked about the VAR, VAR benefits wherever it benefits. If it doesn't affect you, you don't talk about it. When it affects you, that's when you come out and talk about it. So I think it is what it is right now.
And so Erik ten Hag himself Fuzzy,
Yes, yes.
do you think Eric Ten Hag is going to stay until the new year, or do you think he's going to be sacked before the new year?
No, I think he will stay on. He will stay on until the end of until the end of the season.
Ah, fantastic. I also look forward to Eric Ten Hag staying on at least until the end of the season, such that Man United can really be in a good position on the table and not stress the rest of the top six. At least now we can expect them to finish about 6th, 7th there if Eric Ten Hag stays on. And Chelsea can also be given a chance. You see, Edwin is now breathing because Man United is poor. Otherwise, otherwise things would be tight. Of course, the result not going their way in the Champions League. They were laughing when Rashford got that red card. But after that, I think we have seen this quite a number of times from Man United. This is their template in terms of results over the last few years. But moving it on to another cracker at the weekend where Newcastle welcomed Arsenal to St. James's Park. 1-0 the final result. Gordon there with the goal. Controversial goal. VAR, going through 3 scenarios or calls in which there's potential to disallow the goal, and overlooking all 3, a ball out of play, a potential offside, and what looked like a very obvious foul on Gabriel by Joel Linton, which obviously gave space to Gordon to tap that one in. Firstly, I'll kick off with you on that game before we jump into the Champions League result, which was obviously a lot more favorable than that. But first, your take on that debate on the VAR. Was that a goal or not a goal? And was Arteta, who was furious after the match, justified for his reaction?
This is something actually very simple to look at. Even before I go into the VAR situation, we went into this game expecting Newcastle to be really a boogie team against us, and it has always been like that. However, when you look at the that incident, that goal, I can say yes, the ball could have been still on play, and then also you could say Gordon wasn't offside, but that was a foul. He had 2 hands behind his back, so that was a foul clearly. And then all the other incidents, they just came out to be a bully team against us, kicking around, kicking here and there. There could have been more cards than they were actually.
Fazli, for once, I don't agree with you. I think Arteta lost the plot in terms of the attacking side. He set the team up quite well defensively. But for me, on the attacking side, I think the fluidity was gone. The tactics, for me, were not working. I think he brought the likes of Trossard and Bruno, what's his name? Vieira on a bit too late in the game, past the 70th minute, 75th. No impact there attacking-wise. And it was a tight game, tightly contested. And for me, the one who scored first was always going to get their luck. And I believe Arsenal were deserved losers, VAR or no VAR.
I could also remind you.
Demand more.
I could also remind you we have 2 Chelsea spies, so whatever goes against us when those 2 men are on the pitch, please let us. It is understandable.
Edwin, do you agree? I see you also sent a Mount to Man United to neutralize them, but we are suffering with your habits.
Those are my spies that I sent to Arsenal and Man U. And of course, you see, when we play those teams, I think we've not played Manchester United, but when we played Arsenal, they really struggled having us spy in there. But I think that's not the point. But about the Arsenal and Newcastle game, of course, it was a good game, good teams, a very tight game. Arsenal didn't create as many chances as we expected it to create. But then about Arteta's comments after the game, of course, that's what you would expect from a manager who has been unbeaten for his in the first games of the season. But then about Val, I think Val is not about to change. But then my issue is what happens after Val has denied a Liverpool goal from those officials. They'll call Arteta, money sanction him, sanction the ref, do ABC and D. But then what are they doing about the VAR? Because I don't think VAR is about to change. The ball might have been off or on, but that's not the matter. The matter is how the ref what decision the ref took after being advised by the VAR. Could have been a foul on Gabriel, but then still VAR said it's not a foul, it's a ball. So me, I think VAR's decision, okay, officials' decision after VAR has taken a decision must be a little bit considerate for the teams that are actually playing. So that's my view about the Arsenal and Newcastle game. We should be a little tight when it comes to making decisions after the game. We should not just let it go because VAR will continue making those mistakes. Yeah, over to you.
Well, thank you for that feedback. Of course, as you can see, the Arsenal players definitely not happy with the officiating in that game. And needless to say, so was Mikel Arteta. John, of course, the results of the Champions League proved different. Leandro Trossard and Saka with the goals for Arsenal last night as they dispatched of Sevilla convincingly. One more win for them to progress to the next round of the Champions League. Do you think Arsenal have a shot of getting past, first of all, getting past the next round? Let's say it's a given now that they would likely qualify for the next round, but getting past the knockout stages, the first round of the knockout stages to get to the quarterfinals. Can they get to the quarterfinals of Champions League, John?
I do not see Arsenal getting to the quarterfinals. That is as I don't know about anyone else.
The question is why?
Well, Arsenal is a good team.
Yes, please don't use Manu Nugu.
Well, Arsenal is a very good team and it's playing very well. But if you see the vigor Arsenal used last season, the way it was winning matches, the way it was playing like it would play until the last minute, we do not see that right now. They reach a point and give away the match to their opponents. So I don't think they'll and the fact that they are having two serious leagues they are playing in, I think at a point they will fail to coordinate themselves well for them to stay at the top in the Premier League and also be able to go through to the quarterfinals in the Premier League. Even though they have the very good players, I see some of them dropping off for injuries and stuff. So somehow they will fall.
Hey, Man United fans as usual, not very convincing, but allow me to John, I'll come back to you.
When we go back,
allow me to bring
sorry.
Let me come back to you.
When we go back to
comments.
their game in with Newcastle, yeah? Faz was saying that we only talk about VAR when it affects us. When you look at we're playing, there is a ball that is kind of that resembles the same that Rashford got on the line, and our goal was ruled out. You understand? When VAR keeps making such mistakes, and maybe the sanctions come after the game, we the teams lose out on points. So it makes no sense coming out like later and maybe sanctioning refs and coaches for whatever it is. I think it's better if like when you look at our game when Rashford was taken off, it spoils the whole vibe in the game. Like the whole game changes. If you had an upper hand and maybe you could win a game and you're now led by a man, it becomes harder for you to get the result. So I think the VAR also plays a certain role in teams not making it.
Yeah, one would say the VAR is not competent enough in the UK, and we're definitely seeing the results of it. Some Man United fans in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to jump in here. potential Chief Justice here, Atwine Mwezi Mwine, saying, yo, an energetic Man United fan right there. And the noisiest of them all, Christopher Nantaja, Man United fan, aka Mr. Boom, saying the ball was very on, actually, agreeing that VR made a mess of things right there, or the officiating. And as you can see, the word that he uses every time Man United do score. Chris, thanks for tuning in to the show and moving away from the Arsenal and on to the big boys, Manchester City. Edwin, City, of course, washing away Bournemouth at the weekend. 6-1, I believe, the final result. Jeremy Doku with 4 assists, a goal, almost 2 goals. The second one just came off, I think, a Kanji, but dazzling there, Jeremy Doku. Fantastic player and fantastic play from him. And following that up with a solid result in the Champions League, 3 goals for Manchester City right there in the Champions League. And of course, 2 from Haaland against Young Boys and 1 from Foden. And Manchester City are basically in cruise control. And we don't know who is going to stop them. They, of course, return to the top of the table. And safe to say, they should be amongst the first teams that ideally have qualified for the next round. Or should be able to do so in the next round of the Champions League fixtures. How do you stop Manchester City, Edwin, or do you see them faltering at least in the league?
I think how to stop Manchester City. You get that answer over the weekend because we are playing Manchester City. Chelsea as a team tends to be very stubborn when it comes to teams. The efforts will confirm because people who call themselves the title contenders, and they know how tight that game was. Despite the fact that Arsenal was underrated by the Arsenal people, but Arsenal fans, but Chelsea tends to be very stubborn when it comes to big teams. But though I think the advantage that Manchester City has is it's not got big injuries. That's why it's performing so well. I think it only has Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne who are injured right now. But then also you cannot dispute the.
Is Haaland injured? When was Haaland injured?
In the recent match he had in the Champions League, I think he's according to my fan.
Okay.
That was who?
I thought it was a minor injury.
Yeah, it was a minor injury, but then we are not sure whether he's going to play the next match because my fantasy tells me he has 75% chances of appearing the next match. So I think Man City has not that affected by very many injuries, but then the addition of Doku is going to be a very big problem. The only thing I think we have to do a very deep analysis of how Man City plays. I think we have to close in and not let them build up from the back, which I don't think will be possible. I think the only big thing we can get from that Man City game could be a draw. A draw. I see a draw coming us aside over the weekend. But then stopping it, that's very hard. I'm telling you.
Yeah, very good. It's good you acknowledge. And Kalema Derek here, fan in the virtual audience. Chelsea and Man City in the same sentence. He laughs it off. He's a Chelsea fan. Derek, thank you for tuning in. And Edwin, I think you see how your Chelsea fans don't agree with you. Getting a positive result there. And we'll go into the predictions, by the way, as we come to the close of the game. But moving on to your beloved team there, the last game over the game week.
Matthew.
Fantastic game there. Yes,
Matthew.
Matthew.
Just let me throw some light onto that onto my Manchester City thing. I don't think Man City is as scary as as they were last season because they lost 2 prominent players, Gundogan and Mahrez. There's been really some drop in form. given they also lost De Bruyne to injury at the start of the season. Haaland hasn't been the same since. When you look at Grealish, he's not that type of leader. I think the only leaders they have, Rodri and Bernardo Silva. Foden can't do that much. Doku
Mm.
is just like it's like Doku is just having a purple patch. So I don't see Man City doing that much this season, unlike the previous seasons.
Well, that sounds a lot like Arsenal at the moment, to be honest. I think Arsenal are very fortunate to be where they are. I mean, doing well in the Champions League, within touching distance of the top in the Premier League. And you could argue they haven't really found their mojo. They're not playing with the same fluency that they had last season. And compare that, or I believe to compare that to Manchester City. I think Manchester City have done reasonably well. Kevin De Bruyne is a big loss for them. I think Riyad Mahrez, from what we saw last weekend, has been ably replaced by Jeremy Doku, who's actually causing issues or giving Pep a selection headache with regards to how much time Jack really features, because they do play on the same wing. It did look, though, that their strength in depth is actually keeping them at the top, because if they don't have KDB and they're flying in both the Premier League and the Champions League, despite hiccups, then you fear for what happens in the second season when they usually, come to life. That said, I think the competition is still going to be tougher this season, with Liverpool and Arsenal right now showing cojones, and we'll wait to see what happens with Chelsea at the weekend. Do they dispose of Manchester City? Edwin has given us his result, his feedback, but brilliant result for Chelsea on Monday, winning away at Spurs, and a fantastic result for the Premier League, I believe, in general. 4-1 it was. Nicholas Jackson hat trick there for Chelsea, earning them the points. John, I'll bring you into this one. What was your take on Chelsea's performance away to Spurs, the return of Pochettino not being a pleasant taste for the Spurs?
I think Spurs played well and very well, because you see they got 2 red cards but were still in the game. Though I think Chelsea maximized on the counters, and that is how they managed to get those goals. Chelsea plays well, but I don't see Chelsea beating or drawing against Man City. You see, I think football is not like you asked about how can we stop Man City. Football is not like politics that parties can come together and go against a certain party. So in football, every team is working to get better. So Chelsea will get beaten on the weekend. The only way I think Man City will come back to their place, that is if that is the second position. That is if the Chelsea people can try to get a draw there, and then Spurs wins. That is maybe how Man City will come back to the second position. Yeah.
All right. I see some well, a bit salty there, John. See, you don't wish either team well, but that is natural coming from a Manchester United fan, and will definitely wait to see what happens over the weekend with regards to that game. And I'll quickly for the results. So prediction time, and I'll start with Arsenal Burnley. Elifazi, what is your prediction in terms of score for that game? Arsenal Burnley, Arsenal at home this weekend. I
Arsenal
need
at
just a
home.
score.
That's 4-1, 4-1. Because I don't trust my defense,
4-1 to
so I
Burnley.
think I will concede. Yeah, 4 to Arsenal, of course. I don't trust my defense, so I know I will concede. I won't take the clean sheet.
All right. Edwin, Arsenal Burnley.
Arsenal Burnley, I see Arsenal scoring 3-1 because I don't see Raya getting a clean sheet from that game as well.
John, Arsenal Burnley for you.
I see Arsenal scoring more than 2 goals, and I do not see Burnley scoring.
Fantastic.
So
The
that's a
next
clean
game,
sheet for Arsenal.
Spurs. Thank you, sir, for your faith in our defense. I cannot say the same for Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire centre back pairing, but we will wish Manchester United very well against Luton Town. They will be welcoming Luton Town to Old Trafford, and we know what Luton Town did to Liverpool at their place, Kenilworth Road. But we do know Old Trafford should be able to withstand Luton Town. Starting with you, John, your prediction for that.
That's a 2-1, 2 for Manchester United.
2-1 Manchester United. Elifazi.
Yeah, I've seen Manchester United struggling against smaller teams than Luton. I think it's a 2-2 or 1-1 actually.
2-1-1. It seems you've already placed your bets at the betting house. Fazi, we hope all goes well for you. Your take on that match in Luton Town.
I think I'll echo El Fazi's point that Man U tends to struggle with small teams. I'll go for a 1-1.
1-1. Next one, Wolves versus Spurs. Wolves at home, Spurs going away to Wolves. Wolves have been very impressive this season. That certainly surprised me. Gary O'Neill organized that team from a Bournemouth who was you would say, let go by Bournemouth in acrimonious circumstances. It was really a surprise considering he kept them in the league last season, but he's doing wonders at Wolves. And Pedro Neto is on fire. Starting with you, Fazi, your prediction for that one, Wolves versus Spurs.
I think this will be a 3-2 in favor of Wolves because Spurs really struggle against mid-table teams.
Interesting. Edwin?
Spurs, having been beaten by Chelsea, of course, 4-1, I think they will go back to the drawing board and make it 2-1 because Wolves is not also a very simple team. But they will win. No worries, despite the injuries and stuff.
We are forgetting the fact that Spurs has suspended players, and they also have a lot of players that are on injury actually.
Okay, looks like a tight one there.
They play so well.
Edwin, what was your prediction there on Spurs?
On Spurs, I said a 2-1. I've said a 2-1.
2-1 to Wolves.
Can you hear me? No, 2-1 to Spurs. Spurs is going to win because if you watch the Chelsea game, the 9 men making Chelsea struggle. Very big. They play good football.
Well, we will wait and see. But actually, I think Eliphaz has a point. For Spurs, I'm looking at their injury list and those who are likely to miss the game. It's looking a bit tight, looking at the influential guys. You have Perisic, of course, has an ACL, so he's out most of the season. James Maddison seems to be down with an elbow injury. Mickey van de Ven, who has been one of the players really of the season, has a thigh injury. Richarlison is carrying a groin injury, and you have 2 red cards for Christian Romero and Destiny Udogie. A match-changed Spurs team you can expect versus Wolves, and so I think Elifazi has a point. John, your prediction on that Spurs.
I think Spurs will win 2-1 or 1-0.
Mm-hmm. Spurs still to win. Okay, very interesting. Moving on, Liverpool, Brentford, very interesting. Perhaps before moving on, I can see. Let me give my Man United man, Chris, Mr. Boom Nataja, some respect here. He says, in terms of prediction, he doesn't see us winning this Vincent Kompany's Burnley. 3-2 to Burnley. And I mean, this is the nature of Man United fans. What can I say? Sour grapes, everyone, sour grapes. But we will take it, Chris. We will take it, Mr. Dantaja. Liverpool, Brentford, Elifazi. What's your prediction?
Liverpool Brentford. I think Liverpool will easily win this one. 3-0. That will be my prediction.
Well, Brentford is no piece of cake. I think that's going to be an interesting one. Edwin, your take? Liverpool, Brentford.
Liverpool has played well this season. I give them a 2-0, a 2-0 from Brentford. Brentford might not score any goals.
2-0. Okay, John, Liverpool, Brentford.
I'll give it a draw, and that is a 2-2.
2-2. Very interesting. And finally, the big one from the weekend, Chelsea, the boys in blue, welcoming Manchester City to the bridge, kicking it off with Edwin. Your prediction for that game?
You see, when you are at the bridge, very many things can happen. If you ask Arsenal, when the last time they were at the bridge, they'll give you the most correct answer. And still, if you ask Tottenham Hotspur fans, they'll tell you Chelsea is very good when it comes to breaking records, breaking the unbeaten records and stuff like that. So I'll give it a 1-1 draw. Yeah.
After a powerful speech like that, you man. A powerful speech like that, and all you can master is a draw as a Chelsea fan. I think, first, these are the issues. John, surely, if you were the man you're talking about, if you gave a speech, man sounded like Barack Obama. You know, when you come to the bridge, you see, they said, I think a draw.
Of course, you have to talk you have to talk like that when you're talking to when you're talking about Man City. But then, as a Chelsea fan, I'll give it a 1-1. But then, as a football fan, I think I'll give it a 2-1. 2-1, yeah.
2-1 to who? To Man City?
The Man City, of course, can never be Chelsea.
Chelsea fans, you never cease to impress. John Magero, your prediction for that one, Senior John?
3-1 in favor of Man City.
Brilliant. Fazi, your prediction?
If Chelsea manage to play the way they played against us, and then also against Spurs, I think they can stretch City. Because as I already said, City hasn't been good this season, even though Chelsea has been worse. But they can manage to stretch City. I'll go with the 2-2, but then City will win as well. 2-1 as well.
2-1 as well. Interesting. And that's all we had time for, ladies and gentlemen. If you've just joined, do feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share our content. And we are delighted. We will be coming back with Fan Zone in a couple of weeks. Next week, the locker room does return, and so does the roundup. So we have a lot of content here for you to catch up with on Top 6 Fan TV. Thank you for joining, Eliphaz, Edwin, and Senior John. Thank you for attending, and wish you all a fantastic weekend. You take care.